Hey, what I thought I'd do today is take a look at these two pins from the Diplomat Pin Company. I really like Diplomat's pins. Just even their more economical pins are really nice, and up to these two, I'd say medium price pins. They can be toward the higher level depending on what you're comparing it to. But anyway, so I thought I would go over two basic styles. We have the Aero, and then we have the Excellence A2. They do make an Excellence A+, and the only difference between the A2 and the A+ is their capping mechanism. The A2, as what I have here, has the snap cap, and the A+ has a threaded cap. Why they went with that, I'm not really sure, but I guess maybe just to give you some variety, some options. I'm just kind of surprised that on the A+, they don't really have very many designs or colors. I do like their black wavy design. I'm not too crazy about their other design. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what they call it, but it's just squares in there, so kind of a racing look to it. But so we have these two pins. Now, of these two pins, the Aero is probably more popular because of its, it has a unique style, and I really like this. Now I bought this when the Aero first came out, and this was the only color. It has this, it's orange, but I kind of almost want to call it a burnt orange, but it may be not quite that brownish. But anyway, it's kind of a goldish orange, not quite bronze. So I'm not crazy about orange, but anyway, I really like this one, so I picked it up. So why don't we go ahead and go through some of the differences and the how they compare to one another. As far as the price, there is a decent price range with these. The Aero starts at, for the steel nib, at around $188, and the Excellence A2 starts at around $236. If you go for a gold nib, it's $396 for the Aero, and it is $448 for the A2. Obviously the body styles are very different. Now what they're made of, the A2 is like a brass with a lacquer, nice quality lacquer finish there, and then you have chrome plated, and I'm thinking that this is stainless steel because it does. I put a magnet to the bands, the cap, the clip, and the magnets stick to these. So I'm not really sure. So I can't swear to it, but brass, if it was brass, it wouldn't stick at all. So anyway, but the interior of the pin, the body and the cap here are brass and then lacquered. The Aero is an anodized aluminum, and what they do is they put this, I'm not going to try to even mimic some of the technical stuff that I read up on that, but anyway, you immerse this in some sort of liquid, and that sends electromagnetic or electrodes. I'm really showing my my ignorance, so you science guys out there, please forgive me. But anyway, it kind of puts an extra, like a film, it affects the aluminum to where it kind of brings something out, which gives it a porous effect. And so that's what you have on this as far as the body. So that's going to make it a little bit lighter. And on the clip, it's also anodized aluminum and just lacquered with this, I would call it a very dark gray. Both of them on the finials have the, get that focused in there, have the Diplomat logo, the Maltese cross logo with ink drop style there. And then on the clip on the A2, you have this standard Diplomat clip with the ink drop. Now again, this clip differs. This one is just it's kind of like a tension. It's either welded in there, but it looks like it's not rivets, but anyway, let's see if we can get up in there. There you go. You can see how it's mounted there. It'd be like a washer style inside where the finial would screw in or get glued in. And anyway, but it's got some good tension, but very, very usable. The clip on the A2, it is this kind of rocker, spring loaded. Let's see if we can get in there so you can see that mount a little better. On the inside of the clip, you can see some, see if I can get it in there, focused in there. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, there's some little grips right in here where my fingernail is. And it's a comfortable, and it's got fair tension there, but it doesn't hold as well as the Diplomat A, Excellence A, their original clip. I'm going to do a little comparison on that at some point, and just for fun, so we'll go through that. Now the bands on these, the A2 says Diplomat since 1922. Then on the back side says made in Germany. On the Aero, it says Diplomat and then made in Germany. All right, so let's open these up. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and look at their size comparisons there. It's pretty close. Opening them up, they have two different styles of grip sections there. And again, the Aero has the anodized aluminum, whereas the A2 has this lacquered brass, just black lacquered. So it's kind of nice. And then both of them have that flare, have a flare toward the end there to keep your fingers from slipping off. But yeah, so the grip sections are about the same size. Now the girth on these, on the grip sections are the same. They're 11 millimeters, and grip section is 28 on each one. The body girth on these is pretty similar as well. At its widest point, the Aero is 15 millimeters, and the A2 is 14.7 millimeters. As far as weight goes, the overall weight, the A2 weighs 47 grams, the Aero weighs 42 grams. So the overall weight of the A2 is 5 grams more. However, take the caps off and you have 28 grams for the A2 and 31 grams for the Aero. So the Aero is actually a little bit heavier than the A2. I just thought that was interesting there. One weighs more with the cap on and the other weighs more with the cap off. Do these pins post? Yep, they do post. And I wouldn't call this, I mean, the A2 posts probably more securely, but it doesn't post tight. So you'd have to be careful with that. As far as the Aero, I don't know about the new Aeros, but the older ones, I mean, yeah, it'll shake off. It doesn't, you know, it's got the plastic insert, but I think what the problem is you don't have as much surface area for that plastic insert to grab onto. And so it's just grabbing onto the tips of these facets here, or grooves. And so yeah, the Aero does not, I mean, you can put it up there and it's not going to jump off, but if you're expecting it to hold on there, I wouldn't trust it. Again, the capping mechanism on both of these is a click mechanism. Now, this is, again, this is one of the older Aeros. They still sell this style, but I think as they did with the Excellence A's, I think they've changed the clicking mechanism on the Aero as well. I mean, it's a nice satisfying click. It's noticeable. It's easy to do one-handed, and it's firm. Now, it does kind of twist around a little bit there. I don't think that's twisting off, so, but, you know, it's not twisting the grip section off. But at least on mine, it is kind of loose there, so if that would bother you. But it does stay on. It's not going to fall off in your pocket. Now the A2 has this newer clicking mechanism that's just, oh man, it is so smooth. But my Excellence A's don't have that. They have a nice, kind of like the Aero, they have a nice clicking mechanism to them, but it's just not as, it doesn't have that kind of that cushiony, smooth click to it. So, so I really like that clicking mechanism. Now, opening these back up, they both take standard international cartridges, and they come with both an ink cartridge and a converter. So this is probably a Schmidt converter, but anyway, it does have the Diplomat logo on it. Now on the Aero there, you can see this rubber O-ring, and that's really nice because then it just keeps the body and the grip section nice and snug, so it fits really well in there. And then same with the Excellence A Plus. You also have a rubber O-ring there and the converter. On the inside, you have, on both of them, you have metal threads, 2 metal threads. And it's got a little bit of give to it, but not much. But again, that O-ring, that brings it right together there. And so it's nice and firm. As far as how they feel in the hands, very balanced. Now I probably prefer the Excellence A and A plus, just my own preference. But the grip section isn't slick. I mean, it's slick, but it isn't slippery like bare metal. So I think the lacquer finish, helps that. The step down is very minimal. It's nice. Just a very, try to zoom in on that. Just a very basic step down. And yeah, so it's, you don't have any kind of threads or anything. It's not big, it's gradual, and so very comfortable pen to use. And the Aero also is, in the hand, it's comfortable. Now, I know some people will say that this anodized helps in the grip, but personally, I find the anodized effect almost to be slippery. I mean, between these two, I would say that the A plus is less slick feeling than the Aero. It also has this step right there, so a nice step. It is, like I said, it's a comfortable pen, and I don't know if it's the shape here and also the anodized, which is kind of slick. So in your hand, you don't really, you don't have the lacquer grippiness that you do on the Excellence A and A plus. But anyway, it's a cool looking pen. So I think that's why it's a little more popular. As far as size comparisons here, I'll go ahead and put a Lamy Safari in there so you kind of get an idea. And then I'll put a link to my reviews on both of these as well. So it's pretty standard. They're all pretty standard pen lengths. Nothing too crazy on that. So let's see. Of course, you get the little bitty nib on the Lamy there, but the other two, yeah. So let's see, back that up. Okay, anyway, you get the idea. So there's your comparisons. All right, so how about a writing sample? All right, writing sample, and we are going to be using Diamine Red Dragon with both these pens. So let's get the ink shot. That's what they call these. So in there, cap that, get a line drawn down through here. Sneak peek of what's to come. All right. So over here on the left side, this seems kind of maybe unnecessary because both of these pens have the same nib, but just for fun. Okay, so you have the Diplomat, Excellence A2. This is a medium nib. It's a steel nib. Both of these are steel. Alrighty, let's see, as far as, well, wetness, yeah, nice juicy nibs. Of course, we just dipped this, so these are wonderfully smooth nibs. All directions. Reverse writing. A little bit of feedback there, but it does well. Let's see. Let me get it soaked up into the feed a little bit there. And it keeps going. It faded out there, but I think it's just because I'm dipping them instead of filling the converter and all that. As far as line variation, yeah, so for reverse writing, it'll do the job, but you know, it's not the best reverse writer I've ever seen, but it still does a good job. Okay, so there's the A+, and it does some, not much line variation, but you know, steel nib. All right, so here, come over here. I had a fine nib, fine gold nib on this one, and so I swapped it out with the medium. Let's see, move this over just a little bit. Here we have the Diplomat. Aero. Man, these nibs are so smooth. Medium. Yeah. Oh man. I love these pens. Reverse writing. Let's see. This is really bold because let me try to get some some of the ink down there a little bit, but there you go. Yeah, when you dip it, obviously you're gonna have a little more juice to it. Let me do this a little bit. Yeah, if you like wet nibs, these are nice wet nibs. Now, of course, again, what it would be like if I would have, you know, put them, if it was sucking it out of the converter, I don't know, but I have always really liked the Diplomat nibs. So anyway, there you go. So obviously they're the same because you're using the same nib, the same feed, you just have a different body. So the nib stick, if you will, is different. All right, how about some closing thoughts? All right, when you put these two pins side to side and try to do some comparisons, they obviously are unique to each other in the way they feel in the hand. Both of them feel nice. I prefer the A2, the Excellence A series, over the Aero. It just feels like I have it in my hand a little bit more, and it's not as slick feeling as the Aero, but the Aero has such cool styling, and now they have a variety of colors, and so there's all kinds of styles. And then the Excellence A series, the A Plus and the Excellence A pretty much have the same colors except for this red here. I think Diplomat came out with the red, the Magna red, after it switched over to the A, from the Excellence A to the Excellence A Plus. And but you can still get the Excellence A colors on the Excellence A Plus pins with the new clip and clicking mechanism there. So anyway, both of them are nice, wonderful writers. And as you know, you've probably heard, I'm sure, that just people lauding the wonderful writing experience that the Diplomat nibs, especially on their higher end pens such as these, but even on their lower end pens, they made sure that their pens write well. And so really either one of these, you can't go wrong. It's just a kind of a personal preference. Like I said, I prefer the Excellence A series, but you know, I still like my Aero. I'm not getting rid of this one, and I'll be using it occasionally as well. All right, so there you go. And for reviews on each one of these pens, there are the videos. All right, thanks a lot. Have a great day.